Hello, my name is Haley Schofield, and this is my informative speech. My motivation for giving this is to educate others about what causes depression as well as the signs of it and several types of depression while giving ways to treat it. In today's society, a lot of things are taken as a joke when it shouldn't be, causing people to oversee a lot of important signs. One major thing that is not taken as seriously as it should be is depression. Depression has been called the world's #1 public health problem. In fact, depression is so widespread it is considered the common cold of psychiatric disturbances. But there is a grim difference between depression and a cold. Depression can kill you, states David D. Burns, professor in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Stanford University School of Medicine. The reason why I'm telling you about this today is because a lot of people tend to take depression as a joke and don't take it as seriously as they should. The 3 key ideas that will be discussed are what depression really is, the different types of depression as well as the treatments and importance of statistics for it to help them realize they are not alone. Many people don't know what depression truly is. Depression is not just about being sad or upset about something, there's so much more to it. There are several common things that tend to cause depression that people don't know as well as the signs for it, therefore leading people to not realize that they have it. There are several things that might occur in one's life that can cause depression, but these things are not always as noticeable as people think. For example, major life changes can cause depression, well, for example, divorce or moving, states Depression Support Alliance, as well as insecurities, just being insecure about yourself and also being bullied for those insecurities, as well as peer pressure, being pushed to drink or do drugs can also lead to depression because you don't want to do those things. As well as the family history of depression. If it runs in your family, it can be passed on because it is a disorder. As well as chronic diseases such as, for example, cancer patients, 25% of them have experienced depression, as in 2002, states Depression Support Alliance. Even though people think that a huge symptom of depression is just being sad or upset all the time, that's not the only major symptom. Decreased energy or fatigue is also a major symptom, states Pietrangelo, as well as loss of interest or pleasure in hobbies or activities. Since depression is not taken as seriously as it should be, a lot of people have undiagnosed depression because they could be too scared to try and get help. For example, they could try and get an appointment with a doctor to be diagnosed, but sometimes they're too scared to go and take that step forward. But you don't technically have to be diagnosed in order to have it. You can have it and still be undiagnosed. The causes and symptoms are not as common as one thinks they would be, therefore causing a lot of people to have undiagnosed depression. Within the diagnostic process, that are often misunderstood, there are types of depression that are difficult to comprehend. It tends to be thought that depression is just depression. However, there are several types, not just one. There are several types of depression, but just to name a few, there is bipolar, psychotic, and persistent disorders, which are several types. The first disorder that I'll be talking about is the bipolar disorder. Yes, it is different from depression, but it has such low moods that it meets the criteria for a major depression. It's also known as the bipolar depression. The person that has bipolar disorder can have extreme high moods called panic episodes. As well as they can have these manic episodes, they can also have hopeless periods known as depressive episodes, coming from the National Institute of Mental Health. Yes, it is different, but it is still considered a type of depression due to the lower episodes. The next disorder is a psychotic disorder. This occurs when someone has severe depression on top of having delusions or hallucinations. These symptoms are depressive because of the delusions of guilt, poverty, or even illness. Persistent depressive disorder is the next disorder. The type of depressive disorder is a very serious type of depression that can last for at least 2 years. The episode of major depression can have less severe symptoms, but as long as they last at least 2 years, then it's called the persistent disorder. Depression is not just depression. There are several types of depression that people tend not to know about. When officially diagnosed with a type of depressive disorder, one can finally look to receive the correct type of treatment. Looking into getting treatment for the disorder, as well as knowing the statistics about it, is important. That way they know they are not alone. There are several different treatment methods that can be taken in order to help the depressive disorder, but it's also important to know that one is not alone in this as well. Several treatment methods are medications like antidepressants. Usually they take up to 2 to 4 weeks to work, but also watch children, teens, or young adults under 25 just to see how it affects them and make sure it doesn't make them worse. Another treatment is psychotherapy, which is also known as counseling. Also, statistics from the Depression Support Alliance are: women experience depression twice the rate as men. Major depressive disorder affects about 14.8 million Americans, adults, or about 6.7% of the population of the US of 18 and older, according to 2005. Also, they are not alone. This is another point. It is important for them to know that they are not alone in this. That way they can seek that support for them. It is good to be surrounded by the people that they care about, that care about them. That way the depressive disorder does not end up getting worse. There are several methods to choose from when looking for treatment, but it is also important to look at statistics. That way they know that they are not alone in this. In one's mind, when depression starts taking over with the feeling of hopelessness, it causes one to act differently and to isolate themselves. Therefore, they need to do their best to find the help that they can get. Overall, it is important to take depression seriously and to be educated on it as well by knowing the symptoms, types, and even the statistics about it. By taking depression as a joke, a lot of important things are being overseen. Therefore, pay attention because you never know what is going on inside someone's head.